Welcome back to Cooking with Zaphod. Today we're making Tsuivan, and today we're not going to fuck it up like we did last time when I deleted all the footage because you don't know about it. Now, step number one is going to be to get some flour. I've got here some Pillsbury Best flour. It doesn't have to be this kind of flour. It can be literally any kind of flour. I tried last time with whole wheat flour, and it didn't really turn out well for various reasons. One of them because I used whole wheat flour, so I definitely suggest using white enriched flour, just like this one. Now we're going to, for one batch, we need 2.5 cups of this flour. Don't look at that. We need 2.5 cups of this flour. And I've got here my measuring apparatus. So we're going to make 2 batches of this so that people have some to take home as leftovers. And for that we're going to need 5 cups of flour because I'm really good at math. So we've got 5 cups of flour in here, which if you were wondering is about that much flour. That's a fuckload of flour. We're going to make so many goddamn Tsuivan noodles. And for each 2.5 cups of flour, we need 3/4 cups of water. So that multiplied by 2 is 1.5 cups of water, I think. I'm real good at math, so that's probably accurate. So we're just going to fill this up to 1.5 cups. Shout out to my cameraman. I really appreciate you holding the camera so that I don't have to do it myself because it saves a lot of energy, and then we can get stuff like this on video where I go back and forth on how much I think 1.5 cups of water is. That's just a little bit over 1.5 cups of water, so we're going to pour out some, and that's now 1.25 cups of water, which is just going to have to be good enough. When I was, so the first time I made this recipe was an abject failure. I've deleted all of the footage from it because I'm so ashamed of how bad it was, and I threw out so much food when I failed. When I originally failed, I did a lot of research by watching Mongolian YouTube videos on how to make this. And for this one, I did a lot of research by reading websites on how to make this. So one of the things that I've learned between those 2 attempts, or the first attempt and this attempt, is that you want to use as little water as possible. So it's fine that we put in a little bit less water. It's going to be okay. You're not going to die. You just want to turn this on real low because, again, we've got powder in here. And if we turn it on high, it'll all explode out the sides, if you remember from the last episode. Alright, so just looking at this, we didn't put in enough water for it to become consistent. So if we just kept leaving it on, it would stay in this state. So we're going to add just a little bit more water. I'm thinking just a little over 1/4 cup of water there. And we're just going to pour it on in, pop this down, lock it, and turn it back on again. Alright, we now have 1 clump of dough, which is great because we've added the perfect amount of water in order to create this. So go ahead and turn your mixer off, pull out the dough, move this over, pop this back in there, and then you want to just pop everything out. And you might be thinking, you shouldn't be mixing this by hand. You just you bought a really fancy mixer, so you wouldn't have to mix anything by hand. But we want to get this into 1 lump instead of a bunch of small lumps congealed together, which is what it just was a second ago. So we're going to basically flatten it out a little bit, fold it, kind of like you're a Japanese man making a really nice sword, except you're a white man making a really nice noodle. Alright, so this is looking pretty Gucci to me. Now we've used as little water as possible to create this. If you look, it's really, really dry, which is exactly what we want. It's going to make it less sticky, and it's going to make it more tasty. That's not a true fact, but if you just pretend it is, then it will be. Now what we want to do with this dough is we want to let it just kind of chill out. But if we just let it chill out like this, it's going to get stuck to the countertop, and we don't really want that. So what we're going to do with this flour water ball, which is what this is a ball of flour and water. We're going to take some more flour, we're going to sprinkle it down on the countertop, just like so. Spread it out a little bit, kind of get some onto the dough as well. Then pop this down. Get a little bit on your friend's beanie right there. Just a little bit, just a hair, just a little pinch. Then you want to take this and put it upside down on top. You don't have to do that. You could just let it sit out naturally, but I like to do this so that when I lift this off, it's like a nice surprise present. It's like Christmas came early. And we're going to let that sit there while we continue to prepare other ingredients, so start getting your shit ready.
We're live.
We are live. Alright, so the next thing you want to do is grab some potatoes. Here I've got 5 potatoes. I can count them real good. And what you want to do is you want to peel these. You want to get the skin right on off of them. Some people will say, oh, you should leave the skin on the potatoes because there's more flavor in the skin. And you should kick those people in the head. But what we're going to do is we're going to take our vegetable peeler and we're just going to start peeling these potatoes. This one's a little bit green because it's extra fresh. You could do an edit of this, and then I'll do an edit of this. Oh no. Oh no, the recipe. I've been WikiLeaked. Oh. So we've got these potatoes chopped, and which is good. That's what we wanted to do with them. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our gigantic pot. Open it up. You see there's nothing in there. We're going to take all these potatoes. We're going to slide them right on in. Just like that. Doesn't matter if some of them get off to the side because I cleaned the countertop before we started filming. So this is still good to eat. And also y'all are just trusting my hands to be clean after I wash them, which you also saw. So we've got some potatoes up in there now, which is good. We're not going to start applying heat yet. Save that for a bit later. So you got your meat here. This is Fisher Meats. I want to thank Fisher Meats for being the sponsor. I actually want to thank Fug for being the sponsor of this this episode. You don't need your vegetable peeler for the meat. You can just get rid of that. Eventually, at some point, you're going to want to clean all of this up too, but we can do that later. You want to pull out this meat. Ooh, that is meat. And start chopping through this. So we've gone ahead and separated out that much meat. We've got this much left, which we're going to rewrap.
Fuck.
What?
This meat is making me horny.
And we're going to chop this into smallish chunks, just like we did the potatoes, actually. So, do that, basically. We've got this meat diced into small cubes now, ish. Some of them are less cubey than others, but you know, some of them are quite cubish. They're like they just came out of Minecraft. And what we're going to do is going to be a big surprise for those of you who haven't been paying attention. Can I have your hands? Please, Bug. What you do is you have your kitchen helper bring the pot over, and then you have them take off the lid. And then this is the part where you really don't want to get any on the counter. You're going to scrape the raw meat into your pot here, and you're just going to let it kind of chill out. And it's going to do the same thing that the potatoes have been doing. It's just going to sit there and chill. And then it's now time to unwrap our Christmas present that we made for ourselves earlier. So go ahead and grab your bowl by the butt and just lift it on up. And there is your delicious looking noodle dough that everyone thinks looks very tasty and smells quite nice already. And what we're going to do is, this might throw you for a loop here, but we're going to get some more flour. We're going to put it down on the countertop. Just like that. Just like that. And then we're going to take this ball of flour water. We're going to take our cutting board. We're going to chop this. We want to set 2 of these aside. Take one of them, put it down in this flour here, kind of toss it around to try and get it floured up on each side. And then we're going to take our rolling pin. You haven't seen this on show before, but I have a rolling pin now. You want to start rolling this out into flat-ish chunks. So get your rolling on. It's a little bit of a workout if you're not very ripped like I am, but you know. You can manage. I believe in you. You know, keep practicing and eventually you'll live your dreams. Once you've got your dough about this thin, you want to have the return to the cutting board because you don't want to be cutting directly on your countertop. And you want to cut this into smaller pieces. This does feel really nice in my hand. Like this is it's such a good feeling.
It's your Italian roots, bro.
I'm not Italian.
There's something they're not telling you.
If there was something my parents weren't telling me, I would have found out about it when I did the 23andMe test, bro.
Bro, that's cringe.
I'm African, bro. And I'm Ashkenazi, bro.
African-Italian.
I'm not Italian.
Yeah, you are.
No, I'm not, bro. Alright, now that we've got these all separated out and into pretty small pieces and not sticking to each other is really the key piece here, what we're going to do is we're going to bring this whole platter on over to our heat source. And once you're over here at your heat source, what you probably should have done earlier is actually turned on your heat. So that's what I'm going to do right now. And I'm going to turn it on really, really low. If you look at this number, surface light, you can see the number 2 right there. And we're going to start pulling these bad boys off of the stack and popping them down on here. We're not going to leave them on for very long, just a little bit, just so that they form a little tiny bit of a outer layer, and then we're going to flip them and do the same to the other side. And what this is doing, that might even been on there for too long. You want to leave them on for a really short amount of time. But what this is doing is it's making them not able to stick to each other. And we really don't want them to stick to each other because that just, you don't want to eat noodles that are stuck together. It becomes a ball of carbohydrates instead of a bunch of stringy carbohydrates, which is much more palatable. And you don't want to leave these on here for too long because you'll burn them and you'll completely ruin the noodles. So you just want to leave them on real short. I'm on the number 2 setting here because I didn't feel like the number 1 setting was going to be warm enough. And now that I'm using these on the number 2, I'm thinking this is going to be just perfect. So we've gone ahead and we've turned off the heat, and these are now all just very slightly simmered. Is this visible? Here. These are all very slightly simmered on the outside. And we're going to move these back over to our main prep area to keep prepping them. But this is basically the state that you want them in. Just a little bit warm, just a little bit more leathery, a little bit harder on the outside. So you want to roll them up just like this. And once you've got them rolled, you want to chop them into small little pieces like this. You want to do this for all of this, which is going to take a substantial amount of time, unless we do some like crazy movie magic. So what we got going on over here is these potatoes and meat are sizzling on away, and we're going to get in here with our hands and hot plate holder. We're going to make sure that nothing's sticking to the bottom. There's a little bit sticking to the bottom, but it's not the end of the world. And we're just going to mix this up to try and make sure that it cooks a little bit evenly. At least a little bit. You know, it doesn't have to be super even, but it's nicer if it's an even cookage. We want the potatoes to get soft. We want the meat to not be raw, basically. So we're going to let this keep cooking for a while and occasionally stir it, and we'll keep going. We've got this now in this state, which is looking pretty cooked to me. I've moved the heat on down to the number 3 because what we're going to do next is we're going to take all these noodles. Now some of these, I can tell just by touching them, are getting stuck together, which is not optimal, but some of them are going to be good. We're just going to drop these bad boys in here, all of them, right on top. All these noodles, as many of them as we can grab. They're really easy to drop. Just drop them in. Drop them in, put the lid on, and then you wait for like 15 minutes. Don't touch it. So what you want to do after your 15 minutes are up, and you can smell this from the other side of the apartment, you want to take it off the heat, and you want to shake it like this. I was expecting it to be looser and not smell like burned. Alright, you want to shake this up, you want to shake the Tsuivan.
Bro, it's gonna be good.
I hope so. You want to put this where there's no heat, turn off the heat, and then you want to open this, let out all that steam that cooked your noodles, and you want to reach your spoon in here, and hey, you know, the noodles are a bit stuck together. But besides being a little bit stuck together, it looks like there's some burned potato stuck to the bottom of the pan. But other than that, I think this worked out.
Out the oil.
Okay, some people think we should have put some oil in the pot, and it would have stopped things from sticking to the bottom.
And together.
And together. So, if you're following along at home, use oil when you're prepping the noodles before you sear them, and put some oil in the pot. But I think we're going to serve this up and eat it. What do you guys think? Alright, serve this into 3 bowls. So we're adding a teaspoon of oil, and I'm just going to trust my eyeballs on how much a teaspoon is. That much.
That's a tablespoon and a half.
Okay, bro. Whatever you say. That's about a teaspoon of oil. And we're going to mix this up, you're saying?
Yep, just get some oil mixed in there.
The oil bucket just made a sound. Alright, we're mixing it, bro.
Hey Conrad, how's Taco Bell sound?
Hey, at least it's not burnt. It just smelled really burnt for a moment, and I was really worried, but it didn't look burnt at all, so we're good.
I think it's that on the burner.
Maybe.
On the left side, there's like something.
I don't know, man. You lifted it, and it smelled like pure, like black.
I think it's that. It was under the pot, just torching.
Bowls.
I, for one, am excited.
Yeah?
It might need more salt, though.
How is it?
Really doughy.
Really?
And yeah, pretty good.
Good?
Yeah, not bad.
Is it like,
The-
is the
the-
dough not cooked?
No, the dough's cooked. The clumpy nuggets taste like nochi.
I don't know what that is.
It's
You mean gnocchi?
yeah, gnocchi.
Nochi.
It's gnocchi, bro.
Yeah,
It's like gnome, bro.
You're making a weird face, bro.
It's not the worst thing I've had. It's a lot better than Conrad's mom's cooking. Definitely needs more salt.
Well, here. Salt it. Add salt for to taste.
Add salt for flavor.
Yeah, when you're not biting into meat or potatoes, it just tastes like dough.
Yeah.
God. Well, first time was a total failure. Second time was less of a failure. Maybe the third time I make this, I'll get it right.
What's right supposed to be?
What's what?
What is right like for this?
Look up Tsuivan on Google Images.
How do I type that?
Tsuivan.
Tsuivan. Tsuivan.
Yeah. I forgot to record an outro for this one, so thanks for watching this episode of Cooking with Zaphod. Don't forget to share on worldstarhiphop.com. This is episode 67, and we've got up to episode 73 ready to be edited, so they'll be coming out as I edit them. And thanks everybody for watching. Don't forget to share on worldstarhiphop.com. There's another failed Tsuivan coming up in the roster to be edited, and then I'll keep trying it until I get it right. Eventually, I'll make Tsuivan at home, and it'll be fantastic, and then I'll gain 200 pounds.